The woman had just gone to the bathroom while on the plane, but that trip ended up saving her life. Just as she was about to return to her seat, the plane was hit by severe turbulence. Before she could react, the sudden loss of gravity caused her to tumble uncontrollably. Terrified, the woman screamed for help, but no matter how long she called, there was no response. Soon, she lost consciousness from the impact. When she opened her eyes again, the surroundings were eerily quiet. At that moment, she felt a throbbing pain in her head, so she quickly lit a match, and discovered blood streaming down her forehead. Ignoring the pain for now, she knew the first priority was to figure out what had happened. When she finally managed to open the door, the scene outside left her stunned. It turned out the plane had crashed into a snowy mountain, and all around were the corpses of the dead. She was filled with despair, because the mountain was unbearably cold. She had no choice but to strip clothing from the dead bodies to wear for warmth. Then, she began searching for other survivors. However, after searching the entire cabin, she found no signs of life. Desperately, she screamed for help. Just as she was crying out in helplessness, a man's voice came from behind. She rushed over to check, and discovered that beneath the wreckage of the plane, a man had survived. She immediately rescued him, to keep him from freezing to death. The two of them took shelter inside the cabin, but the area was completely exposed to the elements, and offered no real protection from the wind and snow. With no other choice, they searched for materials to keep warm. Eventually, they hid inside the cramped bathroom, the only place that could block the blizzard. At this point, their body temperatures were dropping, and there was no time for modesty. They covered themselves with blankets, and huddled together for warmth. But even so, the man was still shivering. Lisa placed his hands on her chest to help warm him up. With temperatures dropping to dozens of degrees below zero, to avoid freezing to death, this was their only option. The two struggled through the night this way. The next day, to survive, they couldn't wait any longer. Lisa pried open the bathroom door and stepped outside, only to be devastated by what she saw. In just one night, the plane wreckage was buried under the snow. In such a remote mountain, rescue might never arrive in time, and they could starve to death before that happened. Lisa fell into deep despair. She gave up hope, and decided to bury herself right there. Just then, the other survivor, Little Black, came out too. He encouraged Lisa to pull herself together, and reminded her to think of her family. With Little Black's comfort, Lisa finally found the strength, and gave up on the idea of ending her life. But a new blizzard was on its way. At this point, Little Black suggested they head down the mountain and try their luck. If there were residents below, they could be rescued. Unexpectedly, Lisa refused completely. She believed that in such extreme weather, it was better to stay put and wait for rescue. Seeing Lisa was determined to stay, Little Black had no choice but to leave alone. Watching Little Black walk away, Lisa began to regret her decision, so she put on her coat, and followed after him. The two of them embarked on a journey for survival.